friends, and welcome back. I am so happy that you're here, and hopefully you are getting your crafty on today as well. Today I'm working on what I call my daily life journal, which is a journal that I document, something that happened during the week, during the month, something that I feel that it's worth me putting in my book. Fortunately, I think I ended up putting it in the wrong journal. That journal there is for 2017, and I do have one for 2018, and these photos that I'm using here for my trip to Catalina was from this year, but I'm okay with that. It happens, so I'm just gonna move forward. I'm starting by adding some gesso to the background because I just seem to be doing that pretty much in all of my layouts. And now my dog wants to go out. Hold on, I'll be right back. So we have a little door bell on the door. So whenever he wants out, he just touches it with his nose and it rings the bell. So he lets us know that he wants to go out. It's kind of funny. And then you put the bell on the other side of the door, the outside, so that when he wants back in, he rings it again, and hopefully we can hear it. Anyways, let's back to the project here. Now that the gesso is dry, because again, I seem to be adding a lot of some sort of a mixed media on most of my pages lately. So I start by preparing the page with some white gesso so that when I decide to add, whether it's acrylic paints or watercolors or anything like that, it doesn't warp the page, the paper. So the photos, obviously you saw, they were from my Catalina trip. So there's blue ocean on the background, and my outfits are kind of dark, but I wanted to bring some color. And if you saw at the beginning of the video, I showed you kind of what I wanted to use. So I'm using a blue and yellow and black little paper pad by Fancy Pants. That it was just beautiful. I've had it for a while, and it worked out great that I was able to use that little paper pad for the entire layout. So I went ahead and added some stripes of the different colors that match the paper with watercolor. And I did a little bit of splatter effect, as you saw me use that little brush there. I always use some plastic underneath or behind each of the pages to also protect the pages behind it, just in case. So here is that little paper pad again, and look, you can see all the different colors on that background there. It's got black polka dots, chevron, I think that's what it was called, the zigzag pattern, stripes, yellows, blues, and very pretty different patterns. And so I went ahead and just started to cut some strips, kind of following that same, the lines behind the photos. I did use some gelatos, and for some reason when I went to get them, I paused the video and then I never hit record, so you didn't get to see me do that. I used a really dark blue gelato and then just kind of rubbed it on a straight line, and you can see the very intense blue. It comes from the gelato, and then because it's acts like watercolor, I just went ahead with a brush and rubbed it on, or just started mixing the colors with some water, and that's the effect that I got. So again, I'm going through this little paper here that had all kinds of strips of different colors, but obviously they are all coordinating. And he had this little strip of a sentence there, and it says, if I remember correctly, wherever you go, always make sure wherever you go, and whatever the weather might be, something like that, always make sure you bring your own sunshine. Basically, that's what it says. So I wanted to kind of use it as a title. It's not necessarily a title. It's kind of hard to add a title on small journal pages like this. So even something small like that, I think works great for a title. So I went ahead and used my little scallop scissors that I've had for a very, very long time, just to add a little bit more interest to that one little strip of paper there. And now I want to mat my photos. And because they're pretty dark, I kind of wanted to use a light background, and I didn't want it to hide too much of the watercolor. A lot of times you think, oh my gosh, that's gonna be so busy because look at all that color. But always remember that a lot of that is going to get covered by your photos. So I printed my photos using my Canon Selfie, and it printed 2 photos in one sheet of 4x6, which means each of these photos are 2x3s, but I still can cut a little bit more and make them a little bit skinnier just to kind of add more space around the layout. So I added a part of a doily up there on the top. Again, just part of the layering. And some of the items that I've used, some of the supplies here, they came from, like the little stars that you see on the upper right corner. Those came from a store called Tuesday Morning. That is the name of the store, Tuesday Morning. And if you don't know, they do have a scrapbooking section or a craft paper section, and you can find tons of awesome things for really, really good deals. So the little enamel dots, the little stars, that's where I got those from, and they had them in different colors. And so I grabbed a few, but I'm not sure if you will be able to find them somewhere else because they might be kind of old. But again, if you have a Tuesday Morning around you, make sure you look and go check that out. Every time we travel somewhere, well, here in California, or even I'm not sure if they are in, you know, throughout the US, but I always look. And I actually have visited some Tuesday Mornings in Vegas and in Utah, so I always find kind of cute little gems at that store, so maybe be on the lookout. So now I'm starting my layering with all the little strips of paper there, and of course using my favorite glue pen to work with when I'm, you know, working with small little pieces. So I hope that the winner of the giveaway received them. So I'm hoping that she will enjoy them as much as I did. So I hope you got those pens, Pam. So I am gluing everything together before I actually put it on the page. So I'm creating the little layers as a single piece before I attach it to the page. Now I'm going to be doing some fussy cutting. And there they are, the flowers. And now I forgot that I have this little punch right here. It's by Fiskars, and it's easy to make those little pendants. And this is a tab punch, and I can't remember who is by, but I'll add all the supplies at the end here on the video so you can look it up. But I love those. There's more. Look at, I've used already 3 punches. That one is by Tim Holtz, and it looks like coral. At least that's what it looks like to me. But it could be, you could use it like a leaf or greenery for your, you know, to go as a background for your flowers. But to me, in this case, I'm kind of using it kind of like leaves, greenery, but also to represent coral because it kind of goes with the theme of the ocean. And of course it's in black because I'm trying to match the colors from the photos and also obviously from the papers. So I'm adding this little tab up here, and I don't mind if it sticks out farther up because it just kind of add, you know, you can even see a few little strings sticking out on the left above the top part of the journal. I like it when there's little things sticking out. It kind of makes it, it's almost like they're bookmarks. So now I am kind of arranging things the way I think I'm gonna put them. You know, it always happens that I end up changing things, but in this case I kept everything just the way it is. So hold on one second. I went and did a little bit of stitching with some black thread, and you can see that there on that little banner again, just to add a little bit more interest. It's always, I always look at whenever I'm working at, if I think that I'm done with something, I was thinking, is there anything else I can add? Can I add one more thing? Hopefully not gonna make it look too, where it's too much. So in this case, the stitching I thought worked absolutely great. So the little phrase there is a perfect spot where I can cut it in half, and I don't cut any of the words because you want everything to flow. And obviously, because this journal is getting really full, the pages, the left side, it's getting higher than the right side. So it seems like it's off level, you know, it's not leveled correctly, but it still works. So once again, I decide, is there anything else I can add? And so I came up with adding a little bow or little string. I turned it into a little bow of baker's twine in that same, it's turquoise and white. And I'm going to use half of a glue dot to adhere it to the page. Because think about it, it's really hard to add glue to something this skinny. Even the blue pen doesn't work as well. So half a glue dot will secure the little bow, and I know I'm going to put something else on top of it anyways, so it's going to kind of hide the glue dot. So I'm arranging the little flowers that I had cut and adding the little coral. And of course, there is the handy dandy little blue pen. And obviously it's perfect for something this tiny, and my handy dandy little tweezers, which I couldn't find a smaller one, so I ended up having to use these big ones, which I think are for beading when you're working with beads. But when you're using this glue, and I don't know that I've mentioned this before, the glue is actually, it could be permanent or removable. So if it comes out blue, and if you glue something while the glue is still blue, oh my gosh, it will adhere permanently. But if you put the glue and you let it dry, then you can reposition whatever it is that you've glued on or that you put the glue on. So I always use a little piece of plastic underneath whatever I am putting the glue on, because sometimes it can get on your table, and it's easy to remove, but I just find it easier to put something underneath. So there are those cute little stars that I was talking about, the little enamel dots, and like I said, those were from the store Tuesday morning. And maybe I should go back and get more, because they had hearts in different colors, and they're so cute and just worked out perfect. And there, see, I was using that plastic little bag there to add more glue so it doesn't get on my table. So I'm adding a few more of those little flowers and continue adding more of the little corals around the opposite corner. And I'm gonna be coming to the end. You know that I always do my goodbyes way earlier. So I wanted to say thank you so much for coming and crafting with me and getting your crafty wiggles out. Go ahead and scrap lift this layout if you like. You have my permission. It's always fun to have a point of reference, and you can make adjustments to your own layout as you go. So one more little accent here, again looking at the page, and I'm like, I might need something else, so I add another little tab on this side over here. So I will have close-ups at the end of this layout. Let me know if you have any questions. I thank you so much for your wonderful, wonderful comments, because it's what makes me keep going and creating these videos for you. So I know I've said it, I'm not gonna say it again, but I'm adding more stuff. I decided to use this very pretty little sequence that I had. I always forget sometimes to add certain things that I have a lot of, and these are one of those things. So there it is. It is done except for one thing, and believe it or not, there is no doodling on this page. Wow, definitely something new for me. So I'm gonna add the date up on the little tab up there with a Heidi Swapp date stamp, and I'm also gonna do a little bit of journaling, and that is it. So thank you so much for watching. So go ahead and get your crafty on. Thanks so much. Bye.